This happened every single night. Hi, I'm your host. And this was something that happened to me every single night for weeks on end, which I'll get to in a moment. But first, let's establish how normal things are, so we can see how abnormal they become. You see, I'm a very relatable person. I'm studying for exams. I scroll on my phone, watch YouTube videos, and work on my computer well into the night. So I have a habit of sleeping quite late, usually around about 3 in the morning. This was my life for many years. And so I think it's fair to say that I'm a normal person like me. So what makes this different? Why do I suddenly start telling you about all of this now? Well, because there's one thing that I never did at exactly 3 a.m. every night. That's when everything would change. The first sign was when I started waking up at exactly 3 a.m. for no reason whatsoever. You know those nights when you just randomly wake up in the middle of the night for absolutely no reason? Yeah, well, suddenly I was getting these random spurts of energy where I'd be wide awake at 3 a.m. every single night. And that might seem like an insignificant detail, but it soon escalated to much creepier details. For example, if I went to sleep at 3 a.m., when I woke up in the morning, I would notice that some objects in the room were slightly out of place. My chair wasn't in its place. The door was slightly open. None of these things had been like that the evening before, but now they were. Now you could just brush these things off as, oh, I must have done it myself, right? But these strange occurrences didn't stop there. One night I was woken up in the middle of the night by what sounded like footsteps outside of my door. I remember lying in my bed paralyzed with fear as I heard these footsteps approaching my door, then stopping right outside. It was exactly 3 a.m. Some other nights I would hear whispering just outside my door. And again, it was always at exactly 3 a.m. On another occasion, I saw a shadow at the end of my bed. I remember turning my head slowly to look at it, and it disappeared. When I turned my light on, however, the light illuminated nothing. There was no one there. So maybe it was just my imagination, right? Well, maybe it was, or maybe it wasn't, because sometimes I would feel something brushing against my arm or my neck. And when I'd turn on the light, again, there was nothing there. I don't know if the hairs on my neck stood up, or if I could have sworn I felt someone breathing on my neck. At this point, I was completely terrified. I don't know why it was happening. I don't know what it was. But I knew I had to find out. So one night I decided to record myself on my phone. I placed the phone down beside me on my pillow and turned it onto record. The time was 11:30 p.m. and I went to sleep. I hoped that if whatever was haunting me did anything, it would be caught on camera. When I woke up the following morning, I checked the footage. And at exactly 3:04 a.m., a shadow was seen passing by behind me. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, until I noticed that my blanket had also been pulled up to my chin. Someone or something had literally been tugging at my blanket throughout the night. But that wasn't the only sound. If you listen closely, you can hear a faint knocking noise coming from beside me. It really sounds like someone or something whispering right in my ear. I was horrified. Whatever was haunting me was getting closer each night. It was touching me, breathing on me, but I couldn't see it. And now it was whispering to me. Then one night it got even worse. One night I woke up and I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I remember lying in my bed frozen with fear as I felt something right next to me, breathing heavily in my ear. If you've ever experienced sleep paralysis, you know how scary it can be. You're aware, but you can't move. You can't scream. It's absolute hell. And that's exactly what I was going through. And then I could feel something moving further down my body, crawling across my chest. I tried to scream, but I couldn't. All I could do was lie there frozen in fear as I felt the presence crawl over me. I don't know how long I was like that for, but eventually I broke free. I managed to roll over and turn on my bedside lamp. And of course, as soon as the light came on, the presence vanished. I searched everywhere, under the bed, in the closet, but there was nothing there. It was until the following morning that I discovered my phone had stopped recording at exactly 3:07 a.m. That was when I knew I wasn't going crazy. Whatever was haunting me wasn't in my head. And I knew this because the next morning I checked my phone recording. At exactly 3:07 a.m., a shadow leaned over me while I slept. And it wasn't mine. Thank you for listening to my story. And as always, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a like or a comment down below.